Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. And just give me a thumbs up when I. All right, we got a thumbs up. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Denio. Welcome to the Seattle Composers Alliance Expert Speakers Series. Very proud to be here today to represent independent musicians. And so I just want to share some experiences that I have and some advice, some tips on survival as an independent musician, because as we know, when you're doing your own thing, it's kind of difficult to pay the rent. So I thought I'd start with really recommending that you own your own music. You can do what you want. You can look for publishing, and that's a great way to generate, income. But I find that I'm really a lot happier as an artist to own my own material. And so there are a couple of steps to take, and one of them is to really, I guess to copyright your music first. We'll get to that in a second. But start your own publishing company. Has anyone here started their own publishing company by any chance? Not yet? Well, yes, that does. It does. So I started my own publishing company because I was playing actually in Belgrade years ago, and the guy's like, "We'll send you a check." And it was 1990, right? And we're like, "Sure, you're going to send a check." But he really did send a check for the show that we played like months later. But it was made out to Spoot Music because I had this faux record label, all my cassettes said Spoot Music, but I didn't actually have a bank account or anything like that. I was like, so I was stuck with this check for $400. And what am I supposed to do with this thing? I have to start my record label. So that's why I started my record labels, to cash this check for $400 from Belgrade, Serbia. And so I learned how to start a company, and it's really not that difficult. So basically you need to do a name check, come up with a name, do a name check with the Secretary of State. We're in the state of Washington, so I contacted the Secretary of State of Washington and said, I want to start Spoot Music. And they said, great, no one else has that name. It's a really weird name, by the way. And so I went ahead and had the name cleared. And so I was issued a UBI number, Unified, what's it called? Unified or Universal Business Information Number with the state of Washington, because that's what I needed to actually go to the bank to start my bank account so that I could cash this check from Serbia. It was made out in US dollars and everything. It was amazing. And so so that's basically what I did. But I started as a sole proprietor. There are a couple of options. One is that you can just be yourself. So I have Amy Denio doing business as DBA Spoot Music. That's pretty much what I've been doing the whole time. But it's also recommended to consider being an LLC, limited licensed corporation. I think you can just be one person to do that. Actually, I don't know all the rules, but that prevents you from liability issues in case you get sued. It's not you that gets sued, it's your company that gets sued. And that can actually be a good thing when it comes to any kind of copyright infringement or whatever weird things that might come up with the music industry. So I have here on the screen a couple of links to Forbes, and also I found something in USA Today. Briefly, I'll read to you what I came across in terms of being able to, what would be good about being a sole proprietor. Basically, it's very simple. It's not expensive to start. There's almost no paperwork, and you don't really need a federal employee EIN. What is it? Employee information number. The cons are that you can't sell stock, and it's a little harder to get financing from banks and investors. You're just you're an individual, not a corporation. And also the main one is there's no separation between personal and business assets, so it can be a liability. You're suddenly like, uh-oh, I got in trouble, so they're going to take my business away. And with the LLC, there's no startup cost with LLC, you have to be registered within the state, obtain a registered agent, reserve a business name, get the business license and permits. It's just a little more complicated, but you can look up, yes?
So actually, I'm kind of curious about the difference between getting an LLC and a business license, besides the fact that the LLC you have to pay $200 a year to
Well, if you're doing the business in the city of Seattle, you're basically required to have a business license, and it's expensive no matter. I don't know if there's a price difference between sole proprietor or LLC, but I know it's become more and more expensive. It was $75 when I started, and now it's $150 in the city of Seattle. Now I live in a different town. I live in Hansville, and I don't pay anything annually to own a license or to own my business, to run my business in Kitsap County. So it's a different situation. So I can't really answer that question, but I do recommend, on the screen you'll see an organization called Legal Zoom, and they are really well versed at answering those kind of questions and also helping you get started in case you're intimidated. LegalZoom also, they do a lot of different work. Like, for example, something I didn't put on this list, but thinking about your will. I know we're all young, but for example, when we go, let's say we made a great hit. If you die and you don't leave any information, where's that money going to go for all those royalties, right? It's really good to make a will to make sure that your legacy continues and that royalties can still be distributed to people that you would like them to to the right people. So I don't know if that really answered your question, KZ. I think the main thing to do is to really to talk to the city and find out what the difference is. I mean, with an LLC, you're free from liability, so that in a different way, you won't be liable as an individual in case you get in some kind of weird legal trouble. So that's basically it. I don't know more than that in terms of if there's a price difference for a LLC or sole proprietor, because I've never tried it. So.
So the answer is, if I want to repeat for the
Yeah.
widescreen, is that you have to have a business license, but you don't necessarily have to have an LLC.
Yes, to operate in the city of Seattle, it is really necessary to have a business license, especially if you're getting grants as a composer. You'll be required to have a license with the city of Seattle. Like, oh, that's great. The mayor's office of arts and cultural affairs just gave me a grant to do my work. And they'll say, okay, so show us your business license. You'll say, my what? So it's actually to legally operate your business, you need to have a business license as a sole proprietor, as any kind of working entity in the city of Seattle. So that's basically that. All right, moving right along. So your catalog. Now, how many of you have actually created a spreadsheet of a list of your works? Have you tried doing that? Archiving is a nightmare, right? It's just a pain. And how do you start? Where do you begin? It's really difficult. So one thing you could do is look at your recordings and just start a list of what you've actually published in case you have released things on Bandcamp or SoundCloud, whatever that is. Make a list of those things that are actually out there now, right? And also when you make that list, try to, if you're just the person that sings and that you play all the instruments and maybe, you've written the whole thing, then that's great. But if you've collaborated with someone, you need to make that really clear in your notes. Like, oh, actually I did co-write that one song, Salvatore, with my friend Chip Doring. So, and it became this, I recorded it with all these different bands. And so I always give him the credit when I list the song with my publishing rights organization. I always give him the credit. And I don't even think he has a publishing company, but I still, in good faith, I give him his due. So it's a good thing to note, what is the genre? What is the instrumentation of the song? What is the length? Just so you have all the metadata in one place. It's just going to be so much easier later. And just keep it alphabetical by what the song is called. When did you release it on Bandcamp? When did you put it out on SoundCloud? When did you send a mixtape to record labels, whatever? Just like try to keep track of the time. When did it actually come out? What the instrumentation is, the length, the co-writers. And that's just going to be so much easier for you to be able to register those songs with a publishing rights organization. Now, there are quite a few. So I'll just tell you my personal experience, which is that I signed up with ASCAP a little bit randomly. I really didn't. I had no clue, but I think I lucked out because I think ASCAP does a good job of keeping track of performances of your material, radio play, and that kind of thing. And so they also have an annual award called ASCAP Plus, which BMI is, which is another one, Broadcast Music Incorporation. I don't think they have anything like that. ASCAP recognizes that not everyone is going to be Taylor Swift, and it's possible that they're going to overlook or miss some of the plays that you have received. And so if you give evidence every year of, look, I played these performances, my music was performed here by these people, and also here are my new compositions, here's a list of my new recordings, and then any kind of special honors you might have been mentioned. I don't know, you might have received a grant, you might, like I got invoked into the Seattle Jazz of Fame a couple of years ago. So that was a great thing to say, hey, I actually got some recognition as an underground independent musician. So, and here are the things that I've done, And so when you fill out this list, it's onerous, but it also helps you keep track of what you've done in the last year and to remember to register all that new material that you've created with ASCAP in order for the royalties to come in. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I forgot to register that song, and now it's getting airplay, and I better quick. So in my experience, ASCAP works really well. If you're with BMI, that's fine. I think it's really difficult to switch once you've signed up with one. So anyway, yes.
I'm currently struggling with this biggest life. When I was in Canada going to school, they made us become part of SOCAN. And now that I'm in the States, I wanted to become part of ASCAP. They won't let me until I get a release letter. And I've been waiting since last November for them to send me this thing, and they still haven't. And since then have put out my album and sold stuff. And I'm still waiting to become part of this.
So this is a situation where
Well, they don't even, I haven't even put it up on SOCAN because I'm waiting for them to fix all that so that I can come. So I'm hearing all this and I'm I can't even become part of ASCAP.
So this audience member is talking about being registered with SOCAN, which is in Canada, as a Canadian citizen, right? But now you live in the States and you want to rescind your relationship with SOCAN, but you need a letter of release in order for you to sign up with whatever performing rights organization you want in the States, but the letter of release is slow in coming. Is that right? And now your album is out? Well, I don't know what to tell you except that, keep on it, and I think that there can be retroactive. Keep a record of everything that you can. Any kind of recognition, any kind of airplay, any kind of blogs or whatever it might be that's featuring your music. Keep track of as much of it as you can possibly can to bolster your case when you do sign up with an American. I've heard many stories about that. So once you have your the other thing to do when you have a song is to assign an ISRC. This is an International Standard Recording Code. Every song that has an ISRC is then available to be tracked, and that way you can find out where it's been played, either on the internet or on airwaves or in performance. It actually makes the song real. And there's a gigantic, huge international database where every song has an ISRC. And so I think you can look it up on the web of how to get one. I have a friend, my mastering engineer, gets bunches of them. So he gives me 100 at a time. And I have a Excel file where I was like, okay, my new song, but then I messed up because I didn't communicate with them. I was like, oh, well, they're just kind of mine, but no, they're really his. And so I had to communicate with him to make sure that he understood that his catalog of what those ISRC numbers were correct, because he has to submit that information as well, so that it's pretty well backed up. but it really does help. And you'll find in the metadata of Bandcamp, there is a place to put the ISRC number. It's sort of hidden in the back, but when you're editing a song, there is a place to put the ISRC number. And it's a series of letters and numbers with dashes. And yes. I can't, I should be able to tell you that. He's I think he's a member of the recording industry, RIAA, is that what it's called? So I think he gets it through, I think that's what it's called, the RIAA. So he's able to do it that way. That's one step just beyond my knowledge of how you get the ISRCs if you don't have a friend in the industry. But you can ask around. I'm sure there's a way to search and find out the most efficient way to do that. So once you have the song registered with your public rights organization, which I really do wish you luck that you can do that, then there are other organizations, many of which are nonprofit, which are really here to help the artist. And one of them is called the MLC. It's a nonprofit organization established under the Music Modernization Act of 2018 to issue blanket mechanical licenses for streaming. So I get a monthly statement from MLC, and I actually receive royalties from TikTok, even though people are like, no one paid, and Spotify, like I actually get, it's not like I'm a huge hit or anything, but I do get recognition and monthly little bit of income from MLC, as long as I keep my catalog up to date. Like I'm really far behind, so that's something I'm hoping to do once I finish writing my book. But anyway, so MLC is really worth registering all your material with, and it's really easy to do. And they basically they ask for the basic data, like what is the work number, what is the ISRC number, the length of the song, that who's the composer, who's the author, if there is one, or maybe it's you did the whole thing, who knows. So it's pretty straightforward, and they also answer your questions really well. Another organization is called the Harry Fox Agency, and they are more about mechanical reproduction. So from what I see, like the use of your music in in gyms and kind of more like commercial applications of your music in the workplace, and as well as mechanical, like if someone else says, oh, I love that one song that Amanda wrote and I'm going to do a cover of it. Well, if they just go and do it, that's no good. You can say, hey, you didn't ask for permission. So you go through Harry Fox to ask for permission to reproduce the song itself. And then you pay a small fee. It's like, I forget what it is, $130. It really depends on the situation, but like $138 or something you pay to get the rights to arrange whatever song. So that's another source of income when someone says, oh, I'm going to do a cover of that person's music or your music, then you get a little bit of income that way. So Harry Fox Agency is great. And I messed up again where I changed bank accounts, and I was getting auto pay in my old bank, which I closed that account because I couldn't stand that bank. And I'm with a credit union now. And I was like, wait a second, I didn't get any royalty. I was getting reports of like pretty substantial royalties from Harry Fox, but I looked at my bank account statements, nothing. I'm like, And I realized, oh, I forgot to update my banking information with the Harry Fox Agency. And they are so amazing. They're like, hey, we saw this discrepancy, and so we're gonna backdate everything. And since you didn't cash and the money didn't go anywhere, we're gonna send it to you, which is great. So that's pretty ethical, and very stupid on my part. And we're just oversight. There's a lot going on when you're self-employed, right? And then we get into digital distribution, which you're probably all aware of, but Bandcamp, there are pluses and minuses, but I'll just say that it's as someone who has put out music on labels all over the world, very obscure labels with terrible distribution, this is a great way to have all of my music in one place. And not only that, but I see that you can grow your fan base really, and people start supporting you, and then they have collections, and then other people see what they listen to, and then you get more people who are supporting you, and they have now a subscriber situation. So I have people, and it's a great deal that, like, to subscribe to someone's Bandcamp page, you get access to whatever they say, but usually it's pretty much their entire catalog. And then you pay like $3 a month, and it's like, that's great. I just got 20 albums for $3, and I support that, So you get this steady stream every month of money from subscribers, and then just there's a whole networking and community aspect which I appreciate on Bandcamp. And I've learned so much amazing music out there. When Carl and I were talking about that, like, you could just spend a lifetime and still not be able to hear everything that's on there. So I think in terms of networking, it's a really good platform. They take a large chunk, but then they every once in a while, once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, they have Bandcamp Friday, and you can let your fans know. Also, that you collect email lists, like emails from your fans, so you can send out special missives to people who actually really love your music, and that is a great marketing situation too. And then there are other organizations which deal with bringing your music to Amazon, to all the streaming services. And I've been going through CD Baby forever, so I'm just kind of an old, I'm a diehard. I don't know that it's the best situation, but it's a CD Baby, cdbaby.com. They used to distribute my music, and so people could actually order my albums. I would send my albums to this warehouse in Portland. They're based in Portland, but they finally stopped selling. They saw the cards and basically stopped distributing physical stuff. On the other hand, Bandcamp does distribute physical things, and so that's a really great opportunity. Actually, last week amazingly they arrived too. I got an order for 3 CDs in Mexico City. And I mailed them off, and the guy, I was like, please let me know if they ever arrive. And they did. So that's exciting, Yeah, so Bandcamp is, they're going to take a percentage, of course, but they're helping. They're helping you get the word out of your amazing music. So other organizations that I don't have any experience, but I know people speak highly of them, are DistroKid, Sound Exchange, and then Carl, you're talking about a couple of other. Route Note for streaming services.
And if you're aware, I think they will do it for you for 5%, or you can do them.
So they'll charge 5%, or you can give a lump sum per release. So that sounds pretty good. So yeah, I mean, you can really just do some research on the internet and find out what streaming services there are. But basically, you're just uploading your digital information with all the metadata that you have, and that's why it's really good to have all the information of who wrote the song and what the publishing percentages, if there are any, if there's balance. It's good to have all that information. So, DistroKid, CD Baby, The Orchard is another one that a lot of people. Independent people use. And then Sound Exchange. Oh, Sound Exchange is yet another organization which tracks streaming plays. And so if you're being used on a podcast or whatever, then they'll let you know. So I get a modicum of royalties from them. If you're in the Seattle area, and I'm sure you can look up local grants wherever you are. But in the Seattle area, the major players are the Mayor's Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs, and it's www.seattle.gov/arts. There's also For Culture, which is on the King County level, and forculture.org. Artist Trust also awards really has a wide variety of grants available to apply for and fellowships to receive, and the Washington State Arts Commission. And then for a while, I was actually, I think I'm still still paying a monthly fee for an organization that purportedly told you about grants every month, and if you bothered to log on. So I went to their website, and they're no longer on the. No, luckily this is one that actually is active. So USA funding applications is active. So I think it's probably. I mean, it was like I was paying $9 a month or something to gain access to grants. So yeah, I would say there are a lot of different opportunities there. Artist Trust used to. I haven't really looked at their stuff lately, but they often have a huge list of grants for really everything under the sun, like from visual arts to music to commissions and just different things, public art. Okay, so stay organized. Keep track. Keep your receipts. Keep track of what you've been paying. There are a lot of deductions that you can take as a creative artist, and I'm sure there are probably, if you look up online, there's a list of what is good. I won't go into it here because we already had our tax talk in Seattle Composers Alliance before. But I just discovered, I thought that clothing was not deductible, but suddenly for some reason it is again. Stage wear is now deductible. It didn't used to be. It wasn't. I swear to God, it wasn't last year or something. Anyway, things change all the time. So, and then something that I use a lot is a calendar. I have a digital calendar, and I put on when are my credit cards due. I give myself a couple days before they're due to make sure I'm on top of that in case I have to pay them, as well as just different things. Like on Monday morning it says blog, so I'm like, oh right, I gotta update my website. I haven't done it for 6 months, and so weeks go by, but I'm like, every Monday morning it says blog. So just little reminders to really stay on top of the things that'll help you reach out and grow your network, and it could be anything. And just, let's see. So, and also just, give yourself, I have a friend who writes little notes saying, you're doing great. And it's nice to, even though, it's yourself giving your own self feedback, keep at it, whatever. I don't go for that, but other people do find it useful. And so I do recommend trying to get a website together if you haven't already. There are millions of different website formats, and I won't get into it, but really, and that's something I do on my calendar. Say, oh, I really need to update, all these different socials. It's just insane how many different platforms there are that you can be visible and kind of share your ideas and inspiration. So try to keep track of all of it. It's not easy. And I guess I'll digress here and just say that the University of Washington, through the English department, has an internship kind of listserv where you can post your needs. You can say, hi, I'm an independent composer, or I have a record label. It's like, I have a record label, and here's a list of tasks that I need help with, and I need an intern to do the socials. I need an intern to take tickets at my shows. I need an intern to write my whatever, my grant, look at what grants are out there, to do research on blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that you don't want to do, either use AI or find an intern. And in return, sometimes they'll ask for money because that's kind of how things are headed these days. But you give them a letter of recommendation. They get the experience of working with a real live composer. And that's amazing. Half the time they're like, oh, I can't believe, they're really grateful for the experience. And then they might have some really brilliant ideas that you hadn't thought of, So all the time, it's really just absolutely worth collaborating with other people to get new ideas. And interns are a really great way to go. Let's see, application. Yeah. Keep track of application deadlines. That's another thing for this whole calendar thing. Okay. So, during COVID, I was, like many of us, I was teaching online and just going, I wonder how I'm going to survive this whole thing. And there was no work. And my friend in Wisconsin said, hey, I know this singer-songwriter. He doesn't read or write, but he's incredibly prolific, and he wants to make a songbook. Would you transcribe his songs? And I said, oh, wow. So I did a lot of his transcriptions, and he was so grateful. And I just used my music program. I use Sibelius, but also MuseScore or whatever you can use. There are free programs as well for music notation. So you might have someone that you know who's just a brilliant composer, and they want to make a little songbook, or maybe you can suggest it to your friend, like, hey, don't you think you you want a little book of your songs, and then you can share it with your students or your fans. And so that was really a game changer for me. It helped my ear, it helped my notation abilities, it helped so many, I learned a lot. And about his style of songwriting too, which is, different than my own, of course. So that was a game changer for me. So yep. And then just keep on reaching out. Something that I've been doing really since I retired from my day job is I had a business card and, just with contact information, and I'm not afraid of talking to strangers. I actually prefer to talk to strangers because you never know what you're going to learn. It's really interesting. So I got this, when I put out my first cassette, I'd already been setting up shows for musicians. That's another thing you can do is just if you have some friends in another town, say, hey, maybe I can find you some kind of gig somewhere. And you look around and you're like, oh, well, there's this little cafe. I can offer that. And the more you set up shows for people, the more they're willing to then organize things for you and grow the network. So that happened that I brought a bunch of people to the town where I was living before, and then also in Seattle, and setting up tours. And then I sent my first cassette to this French bassist, right? And their tour had actually completely fallen apart, so I never met him. That it turned out, he is a long story, but the whole tour canceled, and so I wrote him like, "Here's my cassette." I was like, kind of embarrassed, but like, "Here's my cassette." He's like, and he wrote me back going, "Oh, ma chérie, Amy." He's like, "Yes, I play your cassette on my radio show, and I have a summertime music festival in southern France in the Bull Ring, and you really should come because it's really cool music. It's 4 nights, and there's an open stage at Saint-Ouvert, and maybe you can, you can play in this open stage during the day during the festival." And so I was like, "Oh, that sounds amazing. I've always wanted to go to Europe, and now I have a reason." Even though I wasn't invited to play there or anything, I just had a cassette. But I went. I was earning $5.50 an hour, and I saved up every freaking penny I had, and I found the cheapest ticket on Air Pakistan, and I flew to Paris, and I didn't have a clue about anything, and I ended up making my way there, and I met all these people along the way who are now some of my biggest collaborators, and it was incredible. Like that trip exploded my universe, and I just met all these people. It was terrifying. I was alone, like, what am I doing? And but it just opened up all kinds of avenues that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't taken the chance. And it's the same and so then I had this new cassette of rough mixes of my new band, and it's 2 basses and drums. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. And Matt Cameron was playing drums, and and I was sending the cassettes, and people were like, wow, this sounds really amazing. As my new friends, that I'd met in the 3-star camping ground next to the Bull Ring, And so I started getting invitations like, oh, you can play in this tavern in the crossroads in the northern France, the middle of nowhere. Or I can maybe get you something in Brussels. Like, oh, and I want to. So we ended up getting 4 gigs offers and in Europe, and one of them was a door gig, and actually 2 were door gigs. One was for like maybe $300, and the other was a festival with like hotel, and we're like, this is not going to cover any of our airplane tickets, but we'll probably cover our expenses between getting from one place to another. Should we do it? I was like, we should. And that investment led to just growing the network, getting to know more people. So I mean, it's true. I mean, it's an investment to keep going at music. And so I recommend taking risks. Let's see. So yeah, like, reach out to artists, local musicians, theater groups, choreographers. Like I discovered, like I'm pretty much I do a lot of solo things, and that's fine. I'm pretty much happy with what I do. But when I collaborate with a different artist or someone else, a different musician, suddenly they're like, wow, you're doing what to this song? What? It's so interesting. Like it really will help you grow as an artist if you start working with other people. Just as an experiment. It doesn't need to be anything, like for the rest of your life. But why not? I mean, it doesn't always work out, but it's worth trying. And you might find some incredibly anomalous, strange collaborations happening. Like, wow, where you develop this whole new genre of music. Who knew? Like what an exciting thing. And if alone, both of you would have been your little alone orbit. So the more you can reach out, the better. And so, yeah, and just write people, like find their contact address and say, hey, I've been listening to music for a while, and I just want to share my music. They may not listen to it, but maybe they will. And maybe they'll be like, oh, you would not believe it, but in 6 months we're having this festival with exactly the themes on your album or whatever. Things just unfold that way. And the only way to find out is to ask and to reach out. So look for open stages, workshops, music seminars, meetups, music festivals, whatever. And keep track of the people that are following you with email lists. And when you do email people, try to keep it interesting rather than, I have a couple of people that write incredibly long, turgid things. It's super boring, and I'm like, oh, I can't. So instead, just be like, blah, and like, like in the little image, and blah, 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 and ha, 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 or whatever. Just keep it concise. If they want to know more, they can ask, and you can chat on video or something. Touring, yep. And so for your website, it's good to have your biography, have links to your music, have links to all whatever social platforms you're using, links to your events, contact. And then maybe any other weird stuff you do. Like maybe it doesn't relate at all to music, but like, did you know that this person does this crazy whatever it is? They do magic card tricks or I don't know what. And then you might find networking in that way, And so anyway, excuse me. And then I recommend starting your own YouTube channel if you haven't already. It's not hard to do, and these days, your smartphone can make movies for you. Instagram can make movies for. It's crazy how easy it is now. So, try to keep active with it. I'm not, but I promise I love making short films. So, I'm looking forward to making more time for that, and Instagram, TikTok, and all that. Let's see. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So, does anyone have questions?
Are we gonna get this document? That would be super.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up on the Seattle Composers. This document's going to be on the Seattle Composers Alliance website and available for all members to peruse. And I'm going to make sure there are links that you can do. So yes, and this is a sign-in sheet. Well. Well, but you're a member, aren't you? I mean, you're So, anyway, So, and this video will probably be up there too, in case you, But basically, I more or less just read what this document is.
The one with your web stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find the name.
There's a question about streaming, web streaming.
Scroll back down.
Let's see.
Like MLC.
Oh, yeah.
Something that you join.
Yeah, you basically sign up for. You register as a composer. With MLC, it's publisher. You register as a publisher. That's why it's really. let me back up even more. With ASCAP, you register most easily as a composer. That's what it is. But it's an association of composers and publishers. So basically, my point is, if you sign up with ASCAP as a publisher and a composer, you get almost double the money. So it just makes more sense to have your own publishing company. And so the Music Licensing Cooperative and also Harry Fox looks for publishers. So that and not composers so much, but publishers.
The publishing company that you have under your ASCAP for your pro, is that what you registered with the state of Washington?
So yes, when that Serbian check came in for Spoot Music, I registered it with the state of Washington and the city of Seattle, and created the company as a sole proprietorship called Spoot Music. And Spoot Music, then I registered with ASCAP, and then what realized, and then a song of mine was heard by a filmmaker, and it sounded like it might be like Robert Altman heard a song of mine in a taxi in New York, and he was thinking about putting it on a film. So I was like, I better sign up for Harry Fox. I didn't even know anything about it. So that's what prompted me to register my published material, which is basically most of my songs, with Harry Fox. And so they send in whenever there's a new contract that comes through with a new organization that they work with, they send out a contract for you to either agree to sign with and receive royalties, or you can say, no, the terms are terrible. I basically say yes to everything. Yes?
So Harry Fox is a place where people can go to get music for their projects. Is it exclusive, or can you also register with other licensing companies?
So
maybe I'm a little unclear on that.
Okay, so Harry Fox is a place to register your published work. And so when let's say they're making a film and they're like, I really love that heavy metal song by that one band, and you go to Harry Fox and say, I want to use that published song in my work. And so basically it's a mechanical rights organization. So mechanical means you're literally reproducing the song in a different way, in a different form. Then you're bringing the song to life. You're putting it on a CD as a compilation, or you're making a copy of it somehow. You're arranging it. So your question is, so basically it's more like the giving you the rights to use the song for whatever your creative work is. Does that answer your question?
But I know that there are a number of licensing libraries that are run by, and I'm blanking the names of some of the larger ones.
Yeah, there are tons.
So is
That's
that
something.
all inclusive, or is that just one of them, or is that like the umbrella over all?
No,
of
Harry
them,
Fox
or?
is just one of them. There are many. The question was, there are all these licensing libraries, which I would love to get into. That's something that I've really not, and that's really that's where it works. That's where people luck out. They're like, oh, my music just got on TV, and it's the theme song for for this series. It's been going for 12 years, and like Ron Jones said, he wrote the music for Family Man, but whatever. So that's a different thing. Getting your music into that's sync licensing. Yeah, that's sync licensing. But and Harry Fox is kind of sync licensing too. I'm sorry, I'm not able to really explain exactly the difference, but there are different entities. There are all kinds of different ways to get your music licensed, and one of them is Harry Fox. And you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you need ASCAP in order to have, or to do the LLC thing.
I don't.
Or is that-
No, you need a publishing company that's registered with a bank account. That's what they're going to ask for is, what's the name of your publishing company? So that means you need to start a business in Washington, in Seattle, open a bank account, because that's what they're going to, otherwise you're not going to receive royalties. So they're like, great, you're a publisher, but we can't send you money if you don't have, a way for us to get you the money. So it's sort of a catch-22 for you. But a bank account that's literally doing business as whatever the name of the publishing company that you make up. You know. People do that. Yeah, but you'd have to add like music to it or whatever, and it would have to be registered with like it literally has to have a business number for you to start the business account. It has to be separate from your personal bank account. That's all. So business accounts with banks usually have different terms and different priority, different whatever situations. So. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I knew more. But we should do it. Well, the Seattle Composers Alliance will definitely do something on sync licensing at some point in the future because I want to know more about that as well. Yeah. All right. Well, great questions, everyone. I hope that I was able to communicate them to our listeners. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Seattle Drum School for providing this beautiful, beautiful space here in the lab. We are in South Seattle. There are 2 locations, and it's a school that foments the love of music and for all ages, all genres, and almost every instrument, I have to say. So thank you, Seattle Drum School, for providing the space. We've been collaborating, the Seattle Composers Alliance has been collaborating for quite a while now, and we're very happy. I mean, that's the key to survival right now is keeping this network strong and growing, and we're here together to support each other. So, yeah. Thank you. All right.